Hello, listeners. Welcome back to the Canadian Spartan Ambassador Podcast. We've got two guests on here tonight, and it's super exciting because they both just got back from Greece. But not only that, it's a father-son duo. So we're super excited to hear about their experiences together and also individually at the Spartan Trifecta World Championships. So not only that, though, they're both Canadian Spartan ambassadors as well. And actually, Ethan, who's one of our guests tonight, he competes in the 18 to 24 age category, which means he's one of our youngest Spartan brand ambassadors. So welcome to the podcast, you guys. And first things first, why don't you guys just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit how you got connected and maybe when you first started in Spartan. So Randy, let's have you kick it off. Dad can start things tonight.
Okay. Well, I did my first Spartan race in 2014. I was at the gym and this lady was like, we should do the Spartan race. And they're telling me about how there was Spartans at the end. You had to get through them. And she was really hyping it up. It turned out
the gladiators.
Yeah, but they weren't there. I was a little disappointed.
Somebody was telling us about those.
What's that?
Somebody was talking about those a few episodes back. And so I'm super excited to hear that you were around at that time because I wasn't.
But they weren't there. They weren't there. They stopped. But I asked my wife if she wanted to go, and so we went, and it was in Edmonton, and it was very low key compared to what it is now. Really, it was basically mud everywhere, and it was fun. And then a couple of years later, that's when I took the whole family. And then Ethan just beasted up the whole course, but I'll let him talk about that.
Okay, but if it was a couple years later, sorry, Ethan, were you doing the kids race at that time, or were you doing the 5K, like the adult Spartan?
I was doing the adult Spartan, and we didn't actually know that there was a kids race at the time. So
okay.
Yeah, I think I was 14 or 15.
Okay.
And I think back then they had it where like you ran it with like a person or a parent or something, or like somebody instead of actually a kids course, but we didn't know about that. So
oh, nice. And so Dad Randy made this an entire family affair. How many people are racers in your family then?
Just the three of us, me, Sarah, and Ethan. My daughter, she's a princess. She did it a couple times and she's like, yeah, I'm not doing this again.
Well, at least she gave it a shot, right?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, okay, so your first race was in 2014, and then Ethan started just a few years ago. So when was your first race experience? Do you remember, Ethan?
I want to say it was 2016, I believe. It was in Edmonton as well, I believe.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was.
So you're pretty experienced for being a young buck.
Yeah, I've had quite a few races.
That's awesome. So, just out of curiosity, you guys obviously started this just kind of for a family fun gathering. At what point did you guys decide, like, hey, we might be pretty good at this, and let's turn this competitive and chase some trifectas?
Well, see, I was told that, I'm not a runner. I do it because I love the challenge. And I was told that I didn't have to do the beast. Well, I didn't have to do the beast because I wanted to run with Ethan. And they said he couldn't run the beast till he's 18. Well, I'm thinking, perfect. I got many years till I have to get ready. And then someone said, oh, no. He can do it when he's like 15 or 16. I'm like, oh. And so then off to Kimberly. And that was our first beast.
That's amazing.
And that was extremely hard. And Ethan was awesome. He waited for me. It took me about 5 seconds under 8 hours to do it. But he was like running up and down the mountain. Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad.
Oh, to have that much energy, eh?
Oh, yeah.
How old would you have been then, Ethan? Were you still like 15, 16 age or?
Yeah, I think I was 15 then.
Oh, nice. Yeah, to carry your dad back and forth up the hill. And back then, just to note, apparently, because I wasn't doing Spartan at that point, I was doing Tough Mudders, but they might say 21 and it was actually 31. So Spartan had its own math back then. And I know Spartan still has their own math, but it's getting better.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I mean, it's super cool that you guys get to do this together because that's like that in itself is awesome. But just out of curiosity, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of the evolution of Spartan over the years? Since you guys have been with Spartan for quite some time, how have things changed, you know, since your first trifecta to like recently?
I would say the biggest change was from burpees to penalty loops.
Yeah, that was this year.
Yeah, burpees were the big thing, and you never want to fail an obstacle because burpees sucked. But now it's just running, so that's a big change I've noticed.
Yeah, and you know what? I get it. It's a lot easier to control. It's a lot easier to. It's black and white. Like you did your penalty loop or you didn't do it. But you guys are out there obviously a lot. Have you seen people maybe just willingly taking the penalty loop because that suits their strengths better? Have you guys seen that out there?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. How does that make you feel? Is that like, I feel like people are either on either end. I mean, I get it. Play to your strengths if you're racing competitively. Like, I'm not going to argue that. But at the same point, it's like, should they have tried it? I don't know. Controversy.
With competitive, when we were in Greece, we found out that you have to at least touch the obstacle before you can do the penalty loop. You can't just run by it.
You're supposed to do that here too. It's the same rules, but it's harder to enforce because there are definitely less people at some of the local races. So shout out to anyone who wants to be a volunteer or bring volunteers. We need lots of volunteers for that. So that, I think that's part of the problem. I know when in Greece, I haven't been there. You guys can let me know, but apparently the whole community of that you're in gets involved and gets right into it. Did you find that was the case while you were there? Did lots of locals
Yeah, there's a lot of volunteers.
Yeah, I think that makes such a huge difference, right? Then you'll see someone might get called on something, whereas you might not have somebody at an obstacle in our areas. So maybe we should do a big campaign in the ambassador program to get some volunteers as well, since we're all ambassadors as well.
Yeah.
So Ethan, you are a competitive racer. Is Randy, do you do age group races as well?
Yes. Yeah, I do the age group as well.
Amazing. So how do you guys feel about the new changes?
I'm not sure. I like it because it just basically separates the two, and then it ranks everybody up to how fast they're going to go. So the faster you run, then you're higher up. And then if you're slower, you're with people that your speed. And so you now have something to push for, strive to get. That's until I actually get involved, that's basically all I know or how I can think about right now.
I feel like it'd be something that would be great for someone, especially younger like Ethan, because you are probably close to moving into elite anyways. You're probably hovering in that area. So this kind of gives you that final push to get up in one of those first waves. Do you think you're going to do that for this year?
Yeah, totally. Because I've been thinking like over the next few years, is like kind of want to go to elite, but I also want to keep placing in age group. So this definitely helps. So like I can still strive for elite, but if I come short, I can still do my age group.
Which I have to be honest, I have to kind of be the catch-22 here, because to me, I think you're just going to basically see all elites on the podium now, because basically if you would have come top 10 elite, that's now your podium for finishers in age group. So on the flip side, age groupers, like true age groupers, are probably not going to be on the podiums, because now those who probably would have ran a late, came top 10 elite, are going to be taking over the age group podium. So on the flip side, yeah, I don't know. As an athlete, it's kind of like, if you want to, like, I'd rather a sixth place elite finish than to, drop down and take a podium in my age group personally. Like, I like that, something to work for and like earn that elite podium. And I'm not saying you're not going to earn that elite podium. I mean, you're definitely earning it now, because it's your top 3 races of the entire weekend, which is like going to be super hard. But I personally do think it is going to take away from some age group podium finishers, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, preference. But okay, I'm curious, how many trifectas have you guys done? How many did you do this year? How many have you done over lifetime?
In my lifetime, I've done five now, and then this year I did two this year.
Oh, cool. Did you do
Yeah,
trifecta weekends?
Pardon me?
Where did you do your trifecta weekends this year?
I did, well, Greece was my one trifecta weekend, and then I didn't do another trifecta weekend, but I did two sprints and a super at Red Deer, and then a ultra in Montana.
Nice.
Oh, an ultra trifecta.
Mhm.
Which he came third.
Oh yeah.
Good for you.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
awesome. I mean, doing an ultra is like an accomplishment on its own and then podium. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Randy, how
Nice.
about you? Where did you get your trifectas this year?
Well, we raced the same places.
Oh, duh. Yeah, obviously. That was stupid. So have you done more trifectas than him or you
No.
both done the same? Yeah.
No, he has one more trifecta than me.
Oh, come on, Dad. Step it up.
Yeah, I'm just glad I'm able to finish.
Yeah, obviously.
So
No,
true.
that's awesome. Yeah. Trifecta weekends are tough. Sometimes I question my life choices when I get to that
I
sprint.
know. It's the last race, you're always like, whose idea was this? I don't even like this. And then 3 days
Yeah.
later, you're signing up for the next thing. So it's kind
So-
of
It would be nice if they had it on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
that's so true.
Kimberly
True.
did that. They had the sprint was on the Friday, the beast was Saturday, and the super was Sunday. And then it's easy to kind of do all races. But when it's all on the same day, so you have a super and a sprint or a beast and a sprint, you're just gassed.
So
Mhm.
true. I think that's part of it. My first trifecta weekend was actually my first race weekend because I didn't really know. There were just extra medals. So I was just going for that extra medal once I had done the 5K, and it started with a 5K. So a friend of mine said, come to this 5K Spartan. It was on the Saturday and then it was a long weekend. So they did Sunday. I believe the Sunday was was 13 kilometers. And then Monday off the long weekend was the 21. So it kind of was a different scenario, but
Interesting. Actually, okay, so you guys were in Greece and they did the trifecta backwards. You guys started with the 5K, the sprint, and your distance increased each day. How did you guys feel about that?
I liked it, to be honest, because your body got used to it as you get going. You know, you get the 5K, it's like a warm up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, actually. Instead of like starting out massive, right? You're building that distance. How did you feel about it, Ethan?
I agree. I feel like it would have been a lot more challenging, especially going over and like only having a couple days to get climatized. Like I feel like I would have done a lot worse on the beast if I had to run that first. It was a nice little warm up as the 5K.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, did you guys do like the opening ceremonies and everything? How was that experience?
Oh, it is just awesome. Like honestly, it was like a mini Olympics.
Yeah.
Like,
so cool.
all the countries, one after another, going down with their flag, and then everybody's behind them. They take a bunch of pictures, and you're up at the King Leonidas's statue, and you're all standing there waving your flag, and oh, it's just awesome.
Yeah, and even the ceremonies looked so good. Like it just looked like a giant 3-day party with Spartan.
Yeah, it was good.
It just looked amazing. Even when one of our ambassadors, we had him on the podcast, that was Juan Carlos. He came third, and watching his medal ceremony was like incredible. Like, how cool is that? Did you go and watch the ceremonies? I know, Ethan, you came fourth, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
I
Congratulations.
know that's amazing. We
Thank
think
you.
that's amazing, but he's probably like, I really wanted to hit that podium.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see it on his face.
Yeah.
I think that's the true athlete in you. Like, fourth place is a tough one to swallow.
Totally.
But I mean, that is a massive, massive accomplishment.
Did you watch the ceremonies though? Did you go and take part?
Oh
in
yeah.
Oh, good. And
Like
podium.
like Ryan Atkins, he got third in the
Yeah.
elite, and then Lindsay Webster, is it?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
She got first, and then they played the Canadian national anthem. So
Oh.
our family and then a couple other Canadians were singing the song, like
That's
singing the
awesome.
anthem. And it was just, you could see in her face how she felt so loved. by us, right? And I'm sure there's other Canadians, we just couldn't hear them singing as well. So it was just really cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, we had a lot of Canadians in the top 10 actually. Like Canada really did well, I think.
We're stepping up our game in OCR and hybrid racing, or we're at least coming after it, right? Speaking of hybrid racing, what do you guys think about that? Have you thought about doing DECA? I know you're both on the West Coast, so there's at least one gym, maybe two, that are affiliates to DECA. Have you considered doing the DECA, or have you done them already?
I've thought about it. It's just nowhere. I don't know where they are. I don't think they're close enough.
Yeah, there's only maybe one in BC, one in Alberta. Are you both in Alberta or
Saskatchewan?
Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
So that's even that's even further. So yeah, they'd be a traveling kind of thing. Maybe we need to do a big multi-day DECA event in Canada at some point and bring some of our West Coast people together. And
that'd be fun.
Amber.
Taken.
Amber's an affiliate for DECA. She hosts all of the distances, including she hosted our very first Canadian DECA Fit this summer as it was a road show. So it was basically Amber's jam and it went off incredibly, and we're hoping that we have more. So
yeah, we're working on it. We'll see what 2024 brings. And you know what? Speaking of, what is the plan for next year for 2024? Are you guys doing the Canadian National Series? What's your schedule look like?
I think we're planning on doing the Canada National Series, the age group, so Mont Tremblant, Red Deer, Kelowna. And then I think we're also going to do Montana just for another race because it's close to home somewhat. Yeah. And then I am thinking about either doing a Tough Mudder race or going to Mammoth Lake for the OCR World Champs.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a hard choice.
Yeah,
that is a hard choice. How many trifecta weekends are you going to do? Are you going to do one in Tremblant or?
I'm thinking of doing one in Montana, one in Tremblant, and then is Kelowna a trifecta?
Yeah, I believe so, because the Beast for the National Series is in Kelowna, so I would imagine so.
Okay, then possibly that one too.
So 3 trifectas in 1 year. No big deal.
And you guys travel quite a bit then. So you go, I guess you have to travel every single time being in Saskatchewan.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that must be quite difficult. But you were at Blue Mountain as well, weren't you?
No.
Oh, you weren't.
That was just 2 weeks before Greece, so we just didn't want to risk going there and getting hurt or something.
That's fair. And the conditions were like wild this year. I loved the mud. I thought it was so much fun, but yeah, definitely a little risky. Like if you got, a big opportunity coming like a couple weeks after, right?
If you were going to get hurt, it was going to be at that race. Unfortunately, you were sending it.
Yeah. And if you're a competitive racer too, you're going to send it, right? So it's hard not to, but.
So how many age group medals have you won? Have you won lots of them? Are you consistently in the top 1 to 3? And same with Randy, because I'm not sure which age group your dad is in, but I'm sure. Where are you in that setting?
I haven't won. I just finish.
You're happy to finish. That is your goal.
Yes, and not getting hurt. I cracked my ribs once and finished the race, and then race the next day. So I just want to finish and not hurt myself.
Nice. But you know what? I love that because I think people think, oh, if I'm going to run age group, I have to do it because I want to actually podium and compete competitively. Guys, you don't have to do that. And Randy's a perfect example of that. You can run age group just to still do it, right? And just have the accountability of the age group racers where, you get one shot at your obstacles and they're a little more strict on the penalty loops, and you get a little more realistic timeline because open is open, have fun and open, but that you don't have to want to be competitive to do age group. So I love that you do age group and your goal is to finish, and I think that's awesome.
Not just that,
sorry, go ahead.
Last year in Red Deer, doing the sprint, I wanted to get sub 45, and I did.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's my goal. I set a goal and I want to beat it. And it's just my own personal thing. If I one day ever make the podium, great. But for me, it's just to do better each year and trying to improve on what I can and can't do.
I love that. And if you have a personal time goal, then I do think, age group is a good place for that, because it's not as crowded. There's definitely less wait times at the obstacles. So you're getting a more true time for what you personally are capable of, and whether that's a 2-hour time or a 45-minute time, at least it's true to you and what you're capable of.
Yeah.
So
And
I love that.
I think it's more for people who, it's not because you necessarily are going out to win. It's for someone who is racing consistently or has done multiple races, really, because you know the obstacles, you know what the penalties are, and you know the rules, and you want to follow them like everybody else. So I think everyone who is going to be consistently coming back year after year, come and join in the competitive weights, because they're awesome. You get the first advantage of the day. So I like that part as well too. Especially at Blue Mountain, because I mean, we were right after the elites and it was already a mud bath. So
but open is fun too. Like, I mean, I'm sure you guys have run open so you can run together, right? And I think open's a great opportunity for that, to just be with family, be with friends, and just enjoy our sport as well on a less competitive level. But
that's what we did last year in Red Deer, is we volunteered on the Saturday after the Super. Ethan was an ambassador at the time, so he had a code. And then Sarah and I, we volunteered and then raced Sunday after our sprint as a family and together. And we just took pictures and video recorded and just had fun.
I love that. And you know what, especially because Ethan obviously races slightly more competitive than you do, Randy. And I think it's important for athletes to just have those days to just enjoy their sport too, and just take the pressure off and just be present and just literally just enjoy. What do you think, Ethan?
Oh yeah, I agree. It was definitely nice to run with my family, because it had been like 4 or 5 years since the last time I ran with them at a Spartan race.
Yeah, I always encourage age group and elite racers, get out at least once a year, do a 5K open, and just be and just enjoy. Jill and I did it. We saw each other on the course at Blue Mountain, and we were sliding down the hill on our backs. But it was just so fun.
It was, and you got to see people that you knew, and you could it was more like, it was like going out and hanging out with your friends more. And I brought people who were brand new racers, and I know Amber did as well. And just watching people do Spartan for the first time was so much fun for me. So I loved that and would highly recommend that too. So Sarah is your mom. We should have brought Sarah on here as well. I didn't realize that it was a whole family of racers. What is your background, everybody, in terms of sports? Were everybody, did you play sports? Was Ethan, were you cross-country runner? What was that all about?
In high school, I did mainly just soccer growing up, and then got into quite a few different sports. Did a little bit of volleyball, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of curling. And then I never actually did cross country. I did a few years of track, and then stopped doing track for the beginning years of high school. And then my senior year, I did track and then went to provincials. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. And that's kind of was when I was getting into the competitive Spartan as well. So that helped with that. And then after high school, my first year of university didn't have any sports. And then this year I just started joined my university cross country and track team. So now I'm doing cross country and track for the second, third time, and then cross country for the first time. So yeah.
And so that translates completely with Spartan, but are you ever where are the big rocks and the things I have to climb up, and how come this is not an entire mud bath? And everyone's like, there's mud on my shoes. And you're like, this is not mud.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get some of them to come out sometime.
Oh my goodness, you should completely.
Or are you going to try maybe a Spartan trail race then, since you're kind of into dabbling with cross country?
I have thought about doing one, because it would be nice just to run, but I do really enjoy the obstacles. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to give up the actual Spartan.
Fair.
You can just pile them on in a weekend. Some people do that.
That's fair.
And
How about
Randy,
you, Randy?
Well, we do want to do the hurricane heat. There's a 4-hour hurricane heat in Red Deer, and we did talk about doing that. So that's kind of up in the air. We're not sure.
That would be fun. I've heard good things about the hurricane heat. I did one earlier this year too, and actually it was a good time.
For me, when I was growing up, I played baseball and soccer. I was actually in track. And then when I went to college, university, I just stopped doing stuff. Life just changed. And I honestly just started gaining a lot of weight, kind of a little pudgy. When I look back at my first Spartan race on how pudgy I was like, wow. And then when Ethan and I ran in Calgary at the BMX track, which was like 4 or 6 years later, I had lost, that pudginess. And it really kind of inspired me to kind of really keep pushing a little more and more. Back then I can keep up to Ethan because he was like, 12 or 13. Now I have to get a moped to keep up to him.
you can take the chairlift.
Yeah, that's about it. That's what I need. So
yeah, that's an interesting thing as a parent to have a kid who is a runner and an athlete, but then you being an athlete and then watching them get better and stronger than you when they're young, and you're like, what happened? But it's also awesome too. It's great
completely
to run with your family. So
that's awesome.
Great experience.
Well, you know what? I think it's been super awesome having you guys on here. I think the only last question that we haven't asked you guys about your Spartan journey is, how long have you been part of the Brand Ambassador program, and when did you learn about that? Tell us a little bit about when you got introduced to that.
So I heard about it at the beginning of this year, so like in I think February or March, and then just signed up for it. Didn't really think much of it, and then I got accepted. Thought it was really cool, and so the second quarter of this year was my first real quarter. So I guess April was my first time, and yeah, I've enjoyed it ever since.
Nice. Yeah, we are always looking for more and more ambassadors. You get lots of cool perks and stuff like Randy was mentioning, free race codes and other stuff like that. But so that means that we might see Ethan and Randy in an info tent out west at some point, hopefully.
Yeah, watch out for them out there. That's another cool thing about being part of the Brand Ambassador program, is you get to meet some really awesome people. You're part of a community we get to hang out with you two tonight. And if we weren't part of the program, we wouldn't be here doing this.
All right. We were talking before and we cut you off, Ethan. We wanted to ask you, we were talking about this. How many medals do you have in age group? And by that, I mean first, seconds, and thirds podium medals.
I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's 6 or 7. I just got my first place this year. And then prior, it was just second and thirds. But yeah, I was definitely proud of getting the first place this year.
I wouldn't say just second and third. Like, podium is podium, and that's awesome. So where did you get your first gold this year? Which race was it?
That was the sprint in Red Deer.
Oh, flat and fast. So you're a speedy little one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite distance? I didn't ask that.
It depends. On a course like Red Deer, definitely the 5K. But then when you go to like a mountainy course, the beast.
Yeah.
How about you, Randy? What's your favorite distance?
The whatever is the shortest.
I'm with you on that one.
And, honestly, I like the sprint, but it just doesn't have the obstacles that I really like.
Yeah.
So I look forward to more of the super, because there's more obstacles on it, and I just like them. They're a little more challenging.
I agree. The super, to me, is just the perfect distance. Like the 5K, I feel like you finish and you're like, like that's it. Like you kind of want a little bit more, but I feel like with the super, it's like the perfect amount of distance and difficulty, like for an experienced age group racer. I love the super as well. So. Anyways, well, thank you guys so much for hopping on here and just sharing your story and sharing your journey with us. And massive congratulations on all your success out in Greece. You guys You sure made Canada proud, and how cool is it that you guys get to do that together?
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.